So I'm here with Cassidy Hartmann, and I'm so thankful that you took time out of your busy schedule just to chat with me. I found you because I saw the Lilith Fair documentary, and I was like, "Who made this thing? I need to talk to that person." Just tell me how it came about. How did you get involved in the documentary?
Sure, and thank you for having me here and for loving the film.
Yeah.
Um, it started about, believe it or not, like 6 years ago, I would say now. It was pre-COVID, with an article that was written by Jessica Hopper, amazing rock journalist. And that ran in Vanity Fair and Epic. And it was an oral history of Lilith. And she and her team interviewed like 150 people who had been involved in Lilith, both artists, crew, audience members. And I read that piece at the time and was really struck by what an incredible story it was. Just,
Right.
I mean, a couple different things. I mean, just the fact that it was such an underdog story. Nobody thought it would work, and they had such a hard time getting it going. And then, of course, it becomes this cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
I loved that element of it. And then also just the fact that everyone they spoke to clearly had been deeply touched by the experience of being there. And I felt like, wow, like this is such a great story. Why don't I know this story? I was a teenager in the 90s. I knew about Lilith Fair, but I didn't know this. And so that kind of started the ball rolling. And
Well, interestingly, I was not a teenager in the 90s. I was giving birth to actually, well, this woman right here who just got married last in May. So I couldn't go, or I thought I couldn't go. I didn't realize when I saw the footage, like everybody went with their babies anyway. But it was something that I had missed out on because I was, a young mother with two kids at the time. And and uh and I'd heard about it and I knew about it, but also I realized I had read about it. And what I'd read about it was misogynistic and patriarchal. And actually, just like right before I talked to you, I saw that CNN had posted. I actually took a screenshot of it because I couldn't believe it about Taylor Swift, right? Oh no, I don't, my phone's off, but it said something like it's open season on Taylor Swift.
Mhm.
Open season, like, oh, go shoot her, right? Anytime a woman succeeds,
Yeah.
anytime a woman shows joy in her success and joins together with other women or just is out there saying, this is who I am.
Yeah.
It's like we can't stop cutting her down. And it just felt so resonant today. Just literally as I was logging to the Zoom to see CNN say it's open season on Taylor Swift, having just seen the Lilith Fair documentary and just weeping the whole time because it made me think like, here are these women joining together because back in the day, you couldn't have a radio play two women's songs at once. They said that was, nobody would listen to the radio. And they also said nobody would come to a concert where there was only women. Tell
Yeah.
me about what you discovered in the process of doing this film about these patriarchal, misogynist ideals that were going on back then.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the first element, as you said, like it was a surprise to realize that, in the 90s, this was going on because I think, we think of that as at least a fairly progressive time, right, compared to what came before. And I think that was really an eye-opening journey for a lot of us who worked on the film, was just to actually kind of like take another look at the time in which we came of age.
Right.
Um, and it just how toxic it actually was in many ways. And I think, that being a great example, the fact that, you couldn't even have more than one woman on a concert bill, it just seems crazy now, right? But then as you say, you look at like the language with Taylor Swift and it's like we've made progress and yet we also haven't in so many ways. And so that was really interesting to kind of look at the differences and also like the similarities between then and now.
Right. And it was also kind of pre-internet. I mean, the internet was around, but it wasn't as prevalent and you didn't have it on your phone and there weren't, I mean, I actually love seeing the footage of nobody shooting video of the concerts, like just people enjoying the music and not trying to record it. That was kind of nostalgic for me.
Yeah.
But but then I was like, why am I having such a visceral reaction to this film? Why am I was weeping at the end of that film. And it's not just the film itself. I also thought about myself at that period of time and what I was fighting against. And it was just like I was fighting against trying to work 4 days a week instead of 5 days a week as a young mother. I was fighting against when my first book came out, being called a slut in Talk magazine, right? Just these things that just you're putting this stuff out there, you're putting your art out there, and you can't help but get, I mean, in the Lilith Fair, it was Jerry Falwell, saying this is the devil and Lilith was the devil, and it made me feel as if we keep taking 2 steps forwards and 3 steps back. Like, when are we ever going to have a moment where something like this is not going to be denigrated because it's all women?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wish I knew the answer to that. I'm with you, and I mean, so many women have reached out and said that they wept through this film, like, and I don't want to put words in their mouth as to why, but I do think this is a really common reaction. And I think part of it is because just having someone name those feelings and like, to hear like when Teo talks about like how um, she sort of participated in the jokes, right? And was like sort of almost made to feel she had to like denigrate herself in order to fit in or to succeed. And like I think just so many of the experiences that are talked about in that film resonate with women, whether they're in the music industry or not, right? Like you're saying, with the things that you went through, which by the way, that sounds being called a slut. You were called a slut in
In
print.
print, in print, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like again, there are many things that have improved for women, and yet, yeah, it feels like we're now in a moment, and even over the making of this film, things have gotten worse,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Many, many ways.
Yeah,
Um,
over the making of the film, we just lost, our right to abortion, let's just
yeah,
say. So,
yeah, and it's really depressing. I clung to this film in a lot of ways over the last few years because I just felt like it felt like a little ray of hope, at least, to be able to remember what's possible when you do get women together, and you do believe in something and you stand up for that. And I don't know. I hope that that is something that goes out into the world and does something good.
that's why I wanted to cover this film. I just, it was like I watched it by accident. I just happened to be sort of scrolling through and I saw it and I just thought, this has got to be seen by everyone because just, even though it made me weep, the joy of these women, of Sheryl Crow and Tracy Chapman and Sarah McLachlan and Paula Cole, who should be much better known than she is, right? All of these women from that amazing period of time when they just grabbed the reins of the music industry and said, fuck everyone else, we're doing this. And then they all got Grammys and they all, because of doing the Lilith Fair, they all became these household names and they
Yeah.
did it on their own terms. And then just also seeing Sarah McLachlan at the end, having built this music school and just, I love her. What was it like working with her?
She's a goddess, like truly. I mean, she's just a wonderful person. She's so authentic. She's exactly who you would think she is and continues to be. And I mean, she was so gracious from the beginning. Um, when we started working with her on this, she was open to it. I think she had a lot of PTSD from, both the original Lilith experiences and the 2010 experience. But she understands the importance of this and the themes of it, and she's lived, embodied that, I think,
Yeah.
throughout her career and the way she treats other people. And I mean, it was a complete pleasure. So,
And I was also sad to see at the end of the film that she did try to revitalize Lilith Fair and it didn't work.
yeah.
And I would dream of going to another Lilith Fair. Like I would dream of taking my daughter, who was, 0 at the time and just an infant, to go to another Lilith Fair. And oh my God, what, what was it like? I imagine that the filmmaking crew itself was an all-female crew. Or did you have all women working together?
For the most part. I mean, Dan Levy was a producer, but
Right. Yeah.
um, but yeah, it was an amazing team. It's I think, I mean, it's one of the best work experiences I've ever had, and I think a lot of that has to do with that it was, you know, mostly women, and it was a group of women that really deeply understood this film and what we were trying to do, and really poured a lot into it over many years. So yeah, I mean, we partnered with Elevation Pictures in Canada because we knew this was a very Canadian story,
Yeah.
and we were able to take advantage of, you know, tax credit opportunities and things up there. And so we had a lot of Canadian crew, which meant we were working in multiple, you know, cities and countries often, and so there was a lot of remote work and communication. But and it was also through COVID, right? But it didn't matter. I think we just there was a connection there from the beginning. And when Ali Pankey, our director, came on, she completely got it as well. And it just was, yeah. I mean, it was hard work, but it was definitely enjoyable at the same time.
Well, I'm really glad that the document exists, meaning like, documentary filmmaking is often about creating a document for future historians to look at. And now that this is kind of in ink or on screen, right? It's a beautiful document of an amazing time. And I just hope all women get a chance to look at it. If I haven't asked you a question that you would love to talk about the film, I mostly just wanted to have you on because I wanted people to see the person behind it.
Oh,
Is
well,
there
there were
something I
many.
didn't ask you?
There was a whole team, but I mean, I could talk about this film for hours. I love this film. I'm so glad it's resonating with people. I mean, I don't know if there's anything. I just want people to see it. I just want
Yeah.
people to like spread the word and see it. I just feel like we're so lacking in hope right now and joy, and it's like I'm just so glad that it's brought that to people. And yeah, I mean, it's such a lesson for me too, because I was, you know, I grew up at this time. I didn't go. I really internalized a lot of the misogyny and the jokes and all the things, and it's like let's just keep that in mind, you know, in the future, and not let things like that happen again, right? And just support women and lift women up, and look what can happen. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I hope for a matriarchy one day in our lives. Years and years and years ago, I was living in Paris and I was sent on assignment to, I think it was called Tricari, Greece. Like that just hit my head, but it was a matriarchy. It was a entire town or maybe village that was run by women,
wow.
and where the name was passed down from women to women, where it was run by women. And I remember thinking, wow, this is the most peaceful, wonderful.
So where is that again? Can you like send
In
me the
Greece, it was
map?
called TRI. Now, it was like 1989 that I went and did the story, but I think it was called Tricari,
Okay.
Trikari. I'll get back to you on that. How about that? I'll
Yeah,
let you
I
know.
might need to go there.
Yeah, exactly right.
Live there.
To experience it in real life. I mean, maybe it's not happening anymore. Back then it was. So,
Yeah. No, I mean that was another big piece, and Sarah says it so well at the end of the film. It's like we need to start building new systems for ourselves, right? We're not just like trying to mimic the patriarchal systems that exist. Let's create something completely different, and it can be better, you know.
I thought the really good example of that at the end is when I guess Sheryl Crow had to go off to the male.
Woodstock 99.
Yes,
Yeah.
Woodstock 99, and it was just utter chaos
Yeah.
compared to the sort of joyous organization and beauty at the Lilith Fair. Well, let's
Yeah.
hope we can build a better society. And I really, really thank you, Cassidy, for being part of this film and for agreeing to talk to me today. And I hope that just our voices can be raised to bring awareness to this beautiful, beautiful piece of work. So thank you so much.
No, I really appreciate you having me and you watching it. So thank you.
Oh, stay on for a second and I'll just press pause. Okay, here we go.